What's the plan?
The plan is Humour and Gaming.
Okay.
We promised him last time, Ezra. You promised him. Right. You did this.
Galen, you can change it up. You are the master of your own domain.
I could, but Ziggs is listening. Okay.
Tell Ziggs I said hi. Hi, Ziggs.
Welcome to On Our Gaming Podcast. I am your host, Galen, also known as Coleotron, and today I am with...
Ezra Twitch Online everywhere. It is the same name everywhere. If you see it, it's me.
I'm Elizabeth, also known as Jinxie. I'm on Tumblr and YouTube and Twitter, and I forget where else. I have half a beer in me, and this is bad.
Yeah.
And I am known by many names across the vast internet continent that is cyberspace. So many names, I cannot even begin to regale you with them. However, I am Joe, and I'm on this shitty gravy train to nowhere.
But you are just the most positive person here, man. I'm so glad we don't rely on you for, our ego or anything. We'd be fucked.
But you are a nice person.
Yeah.
You see
I'm not nice, Joe. I just, I know to pretend.
I'm smiling.
Yeah.
But you are now known as something else on the net with your new shiny...
Your shiny new Xbox One, where you salivate over things that have been standard in the industry for years, which is kind of humorous, so I guess it's on topic.
No, that's fine. I'm going to not lie to you guys. My Xbox One had a penis. I would suck it. That's how much I've been enjoying it. I've had a video game system since the PlayStation 2. This is, wow.
Yeah.
Blows his mind.
Yeah.
Actually, this brings up a good thing. I actually heard a great joke, which I can't remember now, but I actually heard a good joke on Ghost Recon. It was just like a good, one of those jokes that you used to hear in school, they have the big, long lead up. They're almost a story. Come on.
That's hilarious.
No, I mean, we all had these. They're shitty.
I do too, yeah.
I'm trying to think of one that's not racist,
but
I can't at the point, so I'm going to
so hard. There's so many racist jokes.
But there's some good jokes in Ghost Recon that kind of work. But in general, edgy humor it's not good, but... Let's talk about video game humor first, then we'll transition to other places. So I feel like currently, video game humor is the worst in terms of how much of it is good. So let's start there. How much video game is humor is good? What is a funny video game you like? That's not South Park stick video game, because that's just basically a long South Park episode.
So this is our topic. As we said in our last podcast, we're doing humor in games. And... I was not just thinking of video games. I was also thinking
let's start with video games. Let's start with video games.
Okay,
let's
get
the shitty stuff out of the way.
Shitty stuff out of the way. Oh, man. Cobalt got in late, so he wants to sit down and also put in his 2 cents, so he will do that.
No, he won't.
He'll do it later.
All right, hurry up.
Why can't I say South Park? I enjoy South Park.
If we're outside of it, can I just say that, you should probably clarify whether you're talking... It's probably important to clarify whether we're talking about gaming humor, where you're joking about the medium that you're in or stuff like that, or a game that makes references to the world like normal.
We are talking about humor in games, as in within the gaming medium. We will transition to memes at a later point, but thank you for your input.
Let's say you're playing a game, and a character makes a joke, the arrow in the knee joke that a character makes is a joke within a game. However, there's other things that are in games that are like the game dropping that is sometimes a thing in games where it's essentially a pop culture reference within a game.
Well, yeah, but that all counts as humorous game. That's like a needless, I feel like that's not, we can specify in case-by-case business.
It's important to specify that, because I personally enjoy a lot of gaming humor that is within the game world and makes sense from the perspective of the characters.
You're talking about canonical humor versus pop culture humor.
Yes, because
gotcha.
Pop culture humor is tacky and generally dates a game, versus canonical humor can actually become a meme or a good joke in of itself.
That is actually an excellent point.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
That's
an
my
excellent
point.
That's an excellent point.
So my favorite humor game right now is Saints Row.
Yeah,
It's hilarious, and me and Ellie have been playing it like every Wednesday, and we're just trying to get through every one. It's hilarious, freaking hilarious.
It's funny. I have to really hand it to the creators when it comes to Saints Row, because Saints Row 1 was basically just Grand Theft Auto under a different company name, and they realized that they really couldn't compete with Rockstar, and they're like, fuck it, we're just going to do it. Instead of just, making you enter cheat codes to do all this crazy shit, we're just going to make that the game. And they really succeeded. And I have to admit, like he said, canonical humor is really the way to go.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing drives me nuts. Like I thought originally, originally I'd say nothing drives me more nuts than like the same sarcastic, shitty quips that are basically in every AAA release to be out in the last 10 years. But Colo brings up a good point, which is pop culture humor in your games is retarded. Developers, you need to stop doing it. You need to stop. In 5 years, no one will know what you're talking about, and your dialogue will be shit.
You're dating your games.
Stop doing it. As far
people that can get away with it is South Park, but
well, it's because it's South Park. Like I said, the reason I don't like including South Park as a humor game is because the South Park game is just an interactive South Park episode.
Yeah,
it's really not that much of a game. It's more just South Park. I hear the gameplay is decent and everything, but it really is just an interactive South Park episode.
Yeah, I can't wait for the Fractured Butthole to come out.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
can't wait for that game. There's other games too that I really enjoy, but I think it's like Super Meat Boy, just because it's a funny situation kind of thing. Shovel Knight I actually found quite funny, just because you're a knight with shovel.
Yeah.
But those are like little quips that just go under the bridge, and then you go into playing the game.
What about you, Joe? You heard anything funny? You've played any video games you thought were hilarious in gameplay? I can tell you a few games that are. Go ahead, you go first.
Oh, okay. I really haven't played any games that I thought were deliberately hilarious, except for maybe the Saints Row 3 and 4. But that was kind of over the top. It was more slapstick with the giant dildo than anything else. Don't get me wrong, that can be very entertaining.
So it's a slap stick.
It is. Your second weapon that you get is a giant dildo that you beat everything with.
Yeah. This is what, Saints Row 3, I believe?
Probably all of them. Who knows now?
Well, yeah, possibly.
So, it's probably the trademark. I think Saints Row 6 will just have giant dicks.
I'm pretty sure the trademark is the dubstep gun. That's what I haven't played very much Saints Row. I see a lot of people talk about the wub gun.
Yeah. It's a fantastic game. You should play it.
I have played a little bit of it. I do like it, but I always get bored with sandboxes generally. I never finish them because I get sidetracked. I'm grinding through Far Cry 4 right now, and I love Far Cry 4, and it's fun, but the completionist in me, I have 90% of the game done, and the 10% that is left is the entire story mode, so I've kind of already seen everything. So it's kind of taking me a little bit to grind through the rest. And I like the Far Cry games, but I have to say Ubisoft is when it comes to humor, Ubisoft does it shittier than anybody. Basically the worst, because that exact thing I'm talking about, where it's just the edgy one-liners, that's all they've got. They have no humor writers at all. I don't think I've ever laughed in a Ubisoft game. I've seen epic stuff, and that's really cool, but I don't think I have ever laughed ever while playing a Ubisoft game, which, that could be a bad thing.
That's very fair. I play a lot of Ubisoft games.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever, I don't think they make funny stuff.
One exception, Ghost Recon the other day. I actually laughed at that long-form joke that one of the guys rattled off. I didn't laugh. I snickered. But it was something.
It was an emotion.
Yeah. When you're talking
it was a chuckle.
With your friends, that you're just kind of doing a little half smile.
Mm-hmm. Some of the games that do the humor best are games that just take tropes, which I don't really count that as popular culture. They're just tropes, and they just really run with it. My two favorites were the Overlord for Xbox 360, where you basically play Sauron, and you have all these little goblin minions, which are all retarded, and you're going to fight the heroes, but they've all become corrupted. So, the Bilbo Baggins is just this giant fat hobbit. It's like after the heroes won and Sauron wakes back up, and you're Sauron, and you have to go wreck everything. That game did humor pretty good. My favorite game where the humor, there's nothing funny within the game, but in kind of the meta of the game, the humor's cooked in, is there's a game where you play a mayor of a village in a fantasy world. And there are dungeons all around the world, and heroes come kill the monsters, right? Now, you have no control over the heroes. all you can do is build like things that they like brothels and bars and town stores. The problem is once they get there, it's very hard to get them to go. Like you have no control. I mean, sometimes they'll just sit in the tavern, knock up all the winches, and like now you have a population problem and a monster problem. So it's pretty funny when you think about your average like role playing game and like what murder hobos really do to the economy, which is God, it's terrible.
I have a buddy that plays the game. He likes it a lot.
Yeah. I want to know what this game is. I want to
remember
play
the
it.
name. It's really good. Or it's still got problems because like in beta, early alpha, but
I would still play the shit out of it, even in beta.
Conceptually, it's fucking solid. How about you, Liz?
I actually don't. Haven't played nearly as many games as other members of the table here. I enjoy puns, so.
Is there a good video game with puns? I feel like Borderlands would be up there.
Yeah, I was just about to say Borderlands.
Yeah.
I also liked Abe's Adventure.
Oddworld was really good. Oddworld.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Hey, Grandpa, what game is that?
But
Game's old.
Game's old, yeah.
Monster Hunter, I do love how they don't really take themselves that seriously, and those are games I generally like. It's games that don't take themselves that seriously.
And games like Monster Hunter has an outlook on humor with the cats. I like the cats. They're adorable.
But I'm talking about like the weapons and armor once you get to it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Armor, like everybody knows about the Kieran armor if you played Monster Hunter. But like the assless chaps of the bone armor, I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Because it's on both people. It's on the girl character and the guy character.
Male also has the little blue crop top, and he's a giant bull skull as a helmet. It's hilarious.
It is
and then
good.
The monster armor, then the frog horn, and then there's dual swords that's literally just cat paws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the visual stuff can go a long way. I feel like while we are talking about humor in gaming, like so we can maybe try to stuff. I feel like the humor that arises around video games is generally a lot better than the humor that appears in games. I mean, it's the weird thing. It's like the same thing is true for a lot of other stuff. Like if you think about D&D, right? You ever tell a D&D story to somebody? Even other people play D&D and it's just like, oh, God damn it, I don't want to hear this. I don't care. It's not funny. Because so much of it's situational, right?
Yeah.
If you're sitting around the table, in context, it's fucking hilarious. But it's like explaining the joke. No joke explained is funny. And that's
I can agree with that, but disagree at the same time. Because, yeah, like, we've already talked about Shane the Shy, but we've also talked about Cobalt's character, and he's shared his experience of the death of his character when he first came in. And everyone can just laugh at that, and everyone does usually, if they know what D&D is, of course.
People laugh about my rope stuff more.
Yeah, how he just botched it. Like,
I have a reputation in Shadowrun because the first two characters that I played both ended up suspended high above by
I'm pretty sure this is stories in an earlier podcast. Please refer to the archives.
The point is that I disagree with that because I find that the humor that rises around gaming, it can be really asinine as well. Like, it's just, I know that all our base is a funny meme and stuff like that, but it becomes
overused.
Everything to me is the most recent offender.
Yeah.
There's things that just don't, like, jokes can make sense, but they die, and people don't always let them die. There was a release recently that made a arrow in the knee joke, which I mentioned earlier, but it's been like 5 years, and this isn't another Elder Scrolls game that's just being like, hey, we did that one time. This is another game trying to make the same joke today. I believe it was Horizon Zero Dawn that made that joke, but I could be wrong about that. The point is that when it comes to humor in video games and around video games, it depends on how genuine it really feels.
Oh, yeah.
If it feels like a just cash in on... So if it feels like it's a cash-in on the fact that it's popular or that this is a buzzword that people laugh at and, oh, that'll be great, then it generally misses the mark and makes people hate it, which is in my experience.
I can actually absolutely agree with that. It's like, it's funny, I was saying, it's compared, instead of a nostalgia bomb, right, it's like a nostalgia, like, firecracker or something, or just like, that's not that impressive.
It's nostalgia whiff.
Whiff, yeah, that's a good way of putting it, nostalgia whiff. And I have to say, while I did love Borderlands 2, one of the worst offenders of doing what exactly you're talking about, which is probably Borderlands the pre-sequel, which committed like basically what I would call all the sins of gaming humor that we've talked about. Tons of pop culture references that won't make any sense in 3 years. Tons of like cashing in on fucking old jokes. I mean, it was genuinely a badly written game. like badly written. The gameplay's, and the thing is that with Borderlands, okay, you don't have procedural generation. So, the writing really has to sell the game, and I was not impressed with Borderlands pre-sequel. I thought it was basically garbage.
I mean, I went back to number 2, yeah.
I love 2.
The pre-sequel came out, I played the shit out of 2 again.
All right, so...
Well, that wraps up, video games, really. And now, how do you like the evolution in board games, specifically?
I will say right off the bat that video games, as far as, translating humor go, at least the way the industry is right now, when we're talking about humor, video games is, the worst medium for it of the gaming mediums. I agree. There are italics, flavor text on Magic cards that have more humor than, some entire game companies, for a good example, the Goblin Poem, from, I forget what it is, but it's basically, there's, it counts the goblins down, Griffin eats one, and all the different pieces of the poem are spread throughout the italic set. And and that's good. And then also games, when we talk about board games, right? There are board games that are pure humor, which are amazing. What's that game Dan just got, Joe? The TCG Representor?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yes. I can't remember the name of the game, but it was actually very fun to play. It simulates buying and collecting collectible card games like Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or something like that. But it does it very well, and it's just silly and bombastic and fun. So
What's it called?
I don't remember.
You suck. Anyway, I like it because it's meta as fuck. You literally are playing people playing card games.
One of the
sounds amazing.
The best things about humor in gaming, in my opinion, and one of the saving graces is that is probably one of the funniest things that someone can do if they put their heart into it or actually good at doing it is when you break down and make a commentary on your own game platform, the way that, let's say you make an RPG and make jokes about how crappy certain parts of RPGs are, as long as it's once in the game or something like that, it makes sense and everything. And this is something, by the way, that sucks is, let's say that you have a platformer, and the character comments on who the heck designed this stupid place that I have to platform through. When I get my hands on them, I'm going to wring their neck. It makes sense because you feel that way, and that's a good joke and everything. Now, if they don't immediately find a way to alleviate the fact that it's a terrible platforming puzzle that you don't want to be in, or they keep making jokes about it but don't stop doing that, then it becomes
repetitive.
Genuine.
It becomes less genuine.
I'm just gonna say, there was a game that has done that recently. It's called Sonic Boom.
What is Sonic Boom?
Sonic Boom is specifically what's it called? The Curse of Lemnia or something like that. But it did that, and it didn't turn out great. That game has terrible writing, and it's notorious for being one of the worst releases.
Yeah, and honestly, humor is really hard to write.
It's definitely
humor is very difficult to write.
It's so subjective that you can't really know what audience you're hitting here.
Oh, I have to go back though. I have to apologize to Ubisoft. They have one fucking game where they did not have a nostalgia whiff. It was a nostalgia bomb. It's one of the fucking funniest games I have ever. Just the tutorial mode alone is great, provided you were raised in the '90s, which is Far Cry Blood Dragon. Fucking hilarious.
Oh, you told me about that one.
5 minutes of that game are some of the just best gameplay I've had. It takes every shooter trope, pretty much every shooter these days uses the Call of Duty controls, and it just harps on that so fucking hard. It's pretty hilarious, man. And you have the whole 80s heavy metal artwork and stuff. They did a really good job with that. So I will say that I take it back there. Ubisoft, you have a funny game.
So Ubisoft actually produced another game that had a good humor bit.
What was that?
Child of Light.
I've never even heard of that.
So it's kind of like the weird little indie division.
Gotcha. I wonder if they did Far Cry too, because Far Cry wasn't a big release. It was just someone got handed the Far Cry engine, do something with this.
Maybe, but the thing with Child of Light was that it's this character the whole thing is kind of set up like a storybook. Starts off with Once Upon a Time, and then the whole game looks like it's painted with watercolors. It's really cool.
I've seen that game in action. It's very pretty.
Also,
it is a very pretty game.
Oh, I do know the game you're talking about, actually. It was on Steam. I was thinking about getting it, yeah.
Yeah. So, one of the characters can't rhyme in this storybook setting where everybody rhymes.
Oh, Jesus. So, that's not that bad. It's kind of basically, honestly, though, that all that is, mechanically, all he has is a speech impediment. Really.
But they do it really nicely.
Ubisoft hates people with speech impediments.
Bad Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Bad.
The thing is that this character, she's a jester.
Oh.
She's supposed to be able to rhyme.
That's hilarious though, because if you think actually that's really clever though, because everyone rhymes in this world. The gesture would be the one person that couldn't rhyme.
Yeah.
So that's actually canonical humor too. That's pretty good. Meta.
So yeah, Ubisoft did another one, but I don't think it was actually
I
that.
think the word you're looking for, by the way, is diegetic versus non-diegetic humor.
I have no idea what those words are. Kobold, please explain them to me because I feel like they'll add a lot to the conversation.
I want to make sure that I've got it right.
Speaking
So give me
lovely-
5 minutes to bring that up.
All right, fair enough.
Give me 5 minutes.
All right.
Okay, right now Cobalt is looking up the difference between diegetic and non-diegetic humor.
Well, I know what they mean, what it means. I just can't remember which one means which. That's the
Fair enough.
Diegetic
Well,
is
that might actually add a lot to the conversation. So
What?
yeah,
Diegetic is within the world.
Yes, that's what it is.
gotcha.
Non-diegetic is not within the world. Last time I heard it was explained was talking about music and how it can affect the scene in a movie.
Yeah.
But
Man, we should do an episode on music
this
too.
way.
later.
So diegetic versus non-diegetic humor is how I view it a lot. Now, I find diegetic humor to be really interesting.
And that's
in-
the within the world humor?
Yes.
Okay.
It's humor that makes sense within the context of the world that the character would actually make, or like characters would be joking about. Think of Ragnar the Red, the song that's sung in Skyrim. That's diegetic humor because everyone within the world would be like, "Oh, that's funny."
You know what game type did that really well. You don't see them as often these days, but are things like the old Black Isle games or Fallout 1 and 2, they excellent. They did that excellent. I would have to say to this day Fallout 1 is probably one of the better games I've played, both in terms of pop culture humor in the sense they really hit it when they did use it, but even then you're still correct, right? Like a lot of people don't know what Monty Python and the Holy Grail is who are younger these days, and so meeting them doesn't mean anything to you in Fallout 1.
Non-diegetic humor relies on the viewer understanding the tropes or the references being made, which can miss really hard or really not work well if the joke isn't funny overall about the thing.
Oh, okay.
Now, non-diegetic humor can be good in some cases, but it's much more rare, and I find that diegetic humor is amazing within games when it's done right. Because when you see a character that's making a joke in game that makes sense within the context of their character and their world, it may not hit you as well as, say, someone who would actually live in that world, but you can at least appreciate that, like, the character, like, yeah, I can get that within the world, like, if we're talking about barbarians or something like that. Like,
I have to say, non-diegetic humor, going back to the point you made where it really horribly dates your games, I really think that studios should, because it's kind of become rife within, I feel like, a lot of the like e-gaming right now, and I kind of wish studios would knock it off because let me finish what I'm saying is, like, we have all these great games from when we were growing up, right? Like, at least I do, like the old Baldur's Gate games, Fallout 1, Fallout 2.
Oh, I can remember a ton of them.
Planescape Torment is pretty much all diegetic humor. It has no pop culture references really that I can think of. It's basically all humor within the game, right? And so you can go back and play those games now, and they're really good still. If you went back and played, like, I don't know, Borderlands 2, you'd be like, what the like, nothing would be funny. Or not Borderlands 2, sorry, I take that back. Borderlands, the pre-sequel, yeah.
It's more that you'd see it and be like, oh, that was funny at that point in time.
Yeah, it's like dad jokes. It's the dad jokes of gaming.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is.
But keep in mind that non-diegetic humor is also humor that is... It's also humor. It also includes, technically, because it's just stuff that the characters wouldn't actually understand or joke about. It's also something that can be used well when it's the platforming thing or something like that. That is non-diegetic as well, but that's when they're doing it well.
Exactly.
Actually, a deconstruction of a joke that's pointing out, that's lampshading that are common story tropes or gaming tropes. That's well done usually.
I absolutely agree. That's why the Far Cry Blood Dragon was really good.
Just toss in stupid like things that have been popular for a month, then it's not as good. It's not going to last that long. Like, there's a reason that memes live and die. There's no like I don't know a joke that is like that's mimetic, where like over 9,000 or something like that, where it hasn't gotten stale to the point of
You see, you're just like,
don't want. You don't.
yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
oh, they made that joke, really?
And they do that nowadays in so many board games that I've been noticing.
Really?
So many board games. I mean, what was it? The Cards Against Humanity has a shit ton of them in
Yeah,
it.
you can't count that out. That's all Cards Against Humanity is. I mean, you take out the pop culture references from Cards Against Humanity, you basically don't have a game at that
You
point.
have like 10 cards.
Yeah,
like,
but that game is still selling, but it's slowed down a lot in the recent
of
years.
course, yeah.
Because penis jokes, while funny, can only be funny for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, penis joke.
That was a good pun, actually. I missed it at first. Liz got it, obviously.
Yeah, but then there's like cats, what is it, Exploding Kittens. A lot of them are like a couple pop references jokes, but I could see that being funny in a few years from now and then on.
Super Fight, which is all pop culture. You know all these characters.
Yeah, all of it is pop culture, but it's all pop culture from like the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and today.
So it's the stuff that lasted.
Yeah, it's all the stuff that lasts. Yeah. I don't see anybody in there that I don't know.
70s, you're talking Darth Vader, because Darth Vader technically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Darth Vader
yeah.
is eternal.
So I guess the advice would be,
Wait.
I guess the advice would be to any people who are trying to write humor into the video games, for all you people out there, is
talking to you, Hank.
if there's a blogger you really like and he made a joke that you think is funny, don't put in your fucking game.
Yeah.
Wait a couple years at least, you know.
See if it picks up
Yeah.
traction.
Yeah.
Not even that, just be your own kind of humor. I know it's hard to, it's easier said than done, but my main complaint when games try to be funny is that it's very obvious they're trying to be funny.
Yeah.
The reason why this whole sarcastic, quip asshole one-liner thing is so popular nowadays is because it's popular and it's just the edgelord thing to do. It's like lol so random humor from years ago.
Yeah, and the other thing too is it even really popular? I mean, so much of that shit is just pushed forward by the studios.
Yeah, that's
You know, from really like, you know, I mean, you look at like where all the main studios go. I mean, they're basically a homogeneous demographic they draw their surveys from, and they're like, oh yeah, we don't really like this. You know, there's tons of fucking gaming's the biggest industry in the world, man. There's lots of people in the Midwest have Xboxes. I play with them every night. You know, like it's you should. I feel like what Cole brought up with diegetic and non-diegetic. I feel like gaming in general should try and stick to diegetic unless unless you're a good writer, unless you already are known in the industry or something like that.
Yeah, I can definitely get on board with that.
Yeah.
It's not even being known in the industry. It's like have experience with this.
Have experience. That's a better way of putting it. Yeah, not know the industry, but like you know, like people already trust you to write well. You know, and you know you can write well from your own experience. But yeah. I guess I mean we've been on video games a lot. It's the Human Round game is really good too, but I don't know if it qualifies. Like I'm thinking of Order of the Stick right now. So jumping topics, right? So we're talking like RPGs. The human RPGs is generally just the humor of the people at the table. So it's never written into the books. The books are pretty much just rule
And
books.
if you're not laughing at the table, find a new group.
Yes. Yeah.
100%.
Man,
No, that's okay, Joe. You can't be too harsh, right? Because there is Vampire the Masquerade, which is played by emos.
You're right.
They are not known for laughing.
Their soul is so full of despair and
I know.
scars and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just tough to feel all the emotion.
I have to say, honestly, I feel like the goth or the emo things, they're just like any other movement that got too popular, right? Like I knew some goths back in the day before Hot Topic was a thing. They're genuinely pretty cool people. But the second stuff goes mainstream, there's all these hanger-ons who are waiting to try stuff out but are scared until culture says it's okay, and then they all jump on board. And generally, they don't really have a lot of respect for the space they're invading. They're like, well, now that I'm here, everything should be like me. And it's really frustrating.
so you get flannel and hormone glasses.
Hey,
Where have I seen those? Everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's okay now, right?
I just feel if you haven't chopped wood, you shouldn't have a beard.
Hear that, Joe?
He chopped wood. He grew up on a ranch.
Oh yeah, he did.
You chop wood too. You live in a trailer in the woods.
Yeah.
I chopped
And you
wood
said
a few
dick
days ago because
Oh, another dick joke from Joe.
we were just talking about how those get old.
That was
That's just my
Joe.
thing.
Like you.
Wow.
Funny joke.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Yeah, I have to say the best thing about I guess role playing humor is it's all spontaneous. That is
I think so,
really
yeah.
the best thing about it. It's all spontaneous.
I do like how a lot of roleplay humor, they put in specific little comedy outlooks. Like, you know, D&D has the half-orcs where they're just naturally dumb, oblivious, and a lot of things.
Well,
I mean, that's
yeah,
even
but they
playing
don't do
those
that
tropes.
purposely. You have to play it like that.
Yeah, you gotta play it like
That's the
that. But it's really easy.
It's
That's
really
where
easy,
the
yeah.
trope comes
Yeah,
from.
but that's just mechanics, and you're just playing around with it at that time.
Yeah, but all like goblins always acting.
But if you read a
You know how they
D&D
act.
book or a Shadowrun book, or I mean, Shadowrun's kind of essentially have little stories, but they're all like kind of dark and dystopian. So even
That's very
Shadowrun
true.
doesn't
Yeah.
count. Go ahead.
I just want to point out that Shadowrun is the exception for more than that. If you've read their Run and Gun book or any of their supplemental books,
Oh yeah, the bullet points are amazing.
the most hilarious things where you get a lot more flavor and enjoy a lot of things. Like the description, I'll never forget them basically making a reference to Predator in one of the books where they're all like, oh, there's this suit that allows you to essentially do the Predator thing where you go invisible and you can barely see the outline moving and everything. And they joked about it and everything. Like the characters talking about it, like, hey, remember that Tridio video thing that got remade a few years ago?
Yeah, my dad watched that.
about
And really
that
bad
Marine-
graphics, bad CGI. It's not even VR.
about that Marine stuck in the wilderness, those Marines getting hunted by some alien beast. Well, this is basically that, and they
Except
go through
good.
it and everything. But they have a very firm grasp on dark humor as well, because they always tone it back with like, the reason this is illegal is because this one group of runners was supposed to kidnap some guy, and they threw him in a bag that was covered in this stuff, and they didn't manage to get him out, so he ended up in the middle of the street. Nobody found him, and then a car hit him. And it was like, that's pretty messed up.
Shadowrun's, man, Shadowrun flavor-wise, they really hit the nail on the head. I just wish their books were better laid out.
Yeah.
But the D&D books, though, there's not generally very much humor in them. Like inherent in them, and that's true for this, because there's no humor inherent in a system.
Yeah, I
right?
think it's just the roleplay experience
exactly.
that gives it to you.
I feel like the roleplay experience is really a good place for spontaneous humor, and I've actually... One thing I've noticed too is it's very difficult to make a role-playing like role-playing game that is humor, right? The Munchkin role-playing game basically sucks.
Yeah.
We're talking about the role-playing game, not the card game. The card game is super fun, but the role-playing game basically sucks. The closest I've gotten is Paranoia, and even Paranoia, like, once everyone realizes they have 6 lives, they just all start throwing each other into meat grinders and stuff, and you're just like, and that's the game.
There's a time and place for that game, but that is the game.
Yeah.
That's very true. And I know a couple other board games do humor really well. Yeah, Rock, Paper, Wizard.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
It's
That's
actually
funny.
silly fun, yeah.
It's silly fun.
I feel like board games are the best place to capture kind of
Yeah.
spontaneous humor in a way where you can still kind of control it creatively, you know, like Munchkin, Rock Paper Wizard, that game where you build the spells, Wizard Battle or whatever it is.
Wizard Fight.
You know, like there's a lot of opportunity there to have humor that you've put into the game. And kind of know the kind of like it's almost like doing stand up. You kind of know the joke you're telling, right? In board games, whereas D&D it's completely spontaneous, and e-gaming they could do the board game thing, but they just generally don't do it very well. And I really blame the AAA studios more than anything, because one thing we know about large studios with huge stockholders, they don't like fucking with their bottom line, so they go with what they think works, and it has killed so many things in the years. I mean, Firefly, if we're talking TV, which man, talk about humor, right? But not gaming, but Firefly, lots of hilarity, you know. And then like just good games, like there was a MOBA that was coming out by EA, and they killed it because they didn't want to compete with League, but it was really good. It was actually funny too. It had some great characters.
Dang.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
Life is harsh and full of disappointments.
Hello, darkness.
These things on the humor podcast.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess.
I mean,
That kind of wraps everything.
that wraps
right?
up a lot of the stuff. I mean, I was going to go more into about roleplay and human roleplay, but that's pretty much sums it up. It's all about the players.
Yeah, it's
Too much about the players. Like,
Yeah.
nobody aside from whoever's at this table is going to understand why I say Oda
Yeah,
the way
yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you can kind of get that if you listen to like a live play podcast, you know, like the Grog stuff from Critical Role.
Oh,
You know, everyone kind of knows now if they listen to it, right? But there's really no substitute for creating humor yourself. I feel like.
Yeah, very true.
One thing I would say though, one thing we can wrap up on is like pick a game. It can be anything. Board game, card game. I want to go last because I have to really think about this. What game do you think you laughed the most while playing? Not counting D&D. You can't actually count role-playing games because that's going to win every time.
Yeah.
But like
Oddsworld. Oddsworld Adventure.
The joke.
Easily. Oddsworld. I loved it. I was also an immature kid where they were being grinded up for beer. I laughed hysterically because his whole race was going extinct because of it.
Oddsworld did really good.
They were so delicious.
Really good cynical humor.
Yeah, they did. They did really well. I loved it. Also, the game I'm playing with Ellie, Saints Row. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's because I'm so tired because I got to stay up during this time, and I've been up for like more than 24 hours every time I play this game. Maybe that's enhancing the experience for me. Well, I just drink and stay awake.
It's like it's kind of like what I said earlier today. The best way to see a movie is 2 beers deep and low expectations. You're gonna have a good time.
I agree with that.
That's a good way to go into a movie that's potentially bad.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Expendables 3 was awesome. Oh my god, it was fantastic.
Did you guys end up watching Ghost in the Shell?
Yes.
Yeah. That's where that came from.
But let's see. The funniest game I can think of is Red Dragon Inn.
That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good funny game. It's like half role play, so it's kind of based on D&D, but it's really just you can play as a rabid rabbit.
Yeah.
That belongs to a wizard. So because he belongs to the wizard, you can't play as the wizard at the same time you're playing as the rabbit.
Yeah.
Me, my Pookie. Where's Pookie? No, Pookie, no.
Oh man, Joe played him so well.
God, I don't know. I'm trying to think of. I can't think of anything, man. Honestly.
I can. It took me a second.
Yeah.
Fallout 1 or 2. It's hard because they're both excellent writing, but like one of my best experiences in Fallout 1 was just you can get Bob's iguana bits all over the place and they're delicious. And there's no reason to break into Bob's iguana bits, but if you're being an asshole and you want loot, sometimes you break into places you're not supposed to be there. Tell you what, Bob's iguana bits is made of people. And you've been eating them. Yeah. But here's the best part. You can, instead of killing him or turning him in or doing all those things, you can also just extort him for money. I'm gonna tell everyone unless you give me a percentage. Man, that's what made the Fallout 1 and 2 games so good, too. Was just there was lots of humor. And Fallout really has always done the humor good up until 4, which, the dialogue, they shot it, basically. They put the dialogue in Fallout 4 in front of a firing squad, basically. But Fallout 1, like, there was another, or Fallout 3, there's another great moment. If you take one intelligence character, there's a door, and you have to get the password, and the password's cake. Now, there's all these different ways you can get it. But if you're a one intelligence character, if you go to the door and it says, "What's the password?" you go, "Cake!" and it lets you in.
I will say that was kind of fun. That reminded me. I didn't really laugh at it, but I did play a low intelligent character in Neverwinter Nights, and that was fun because you did have the retarded options. All your responses were specialized.
Yeah, I will say, anyone who has not played Fallout 1 through 3 or the Neverwinter Nights games or any of those games as a low intelligence character, you owe yourself to go back and play those games with like 1 or 2 int, because it changes literally all of your dialogue options, basically. Like,
it does. They did it so well in 3. I loved 3 because of it. It was so good.
Yep. Every single dialogue option is different. That's replay value. Mm-hmm. You just have to, you just have to stop playing the edgy badass with the sarcastic quips and play a retard.
Not Batman. Stop being Batman.
You're a special guy, man.
Bible man.
Okay, someone should play a character closer to the Tick than Batman.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Can you think of any?
You just did.
Yeah.
Low int Black Isle games, basically.
Yeah, low int Black Isle.
Yeah.
Low int Black Isle games. Mm-hmm. I should go back to Pillars of Eternity and see if they did the same thing.
I doubt it. They haven't done that.
I doubt it too, because they've been infested with pop culture references. Granted, that's not completely their fault. They let their backers write their own jokes, include them in. There's a big scandal over it and stuff. But some of the humor is good. Mm-hmm. Dialogue's okay. The gameplay's really fun. Very reminiscent of Baldur's Gate. Mm-hmm. But
so with all that, now
wait, I didn't.
The things that come out.
Okay,
Cobalt, the one who came in late.
Yeah. All right, hit us.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to say that my favorite game in terms of humor, I can't mention. However, I'll go a second favorite in terms of humor. And that would probably be Undertale, simply because
You love the dark humor stuff,
it
though.
was really clever in terms of how it handled a lot of stuff. And sure, it's one of those games where I feel like it could be dated over time, but I think that there's just something really well crafted in terms of the way that it presents everything, and just the stupidity of the game made me laugh a lot.
Game,
like it's a very genuine, like it feels like a passion project by the guy who made it, and I'll never get if anyone who has gotten into that room where you have to play the right notes and everything, there's the ancient relic on the thing, you go to pick it up, and it tells you that there's too many annoying dogs in your inventory, will know that whoever made that game it just loves messing with whoever's playing it.
You know, when you think back on it, even most games that have good humor were done with real small studios. And when we talk about humor is funny when it's genuine, which is probably why AAA titles suffer so badly in the humor department, because you've got giant teams of people working too many hours, not really talking to each other, and like basically making humor by way of polls, you know, or personal politics, which is never a good way to go.
Like if you ever watch like a really good stand-up comedian, you don't really laugh at the jokes themselves. You're laughing at the human who has to deal with the material for these jokes. So when you get like 12 writers, a director, and just all these different people, it kind of sucks the humanity out of the whole thing.
Well, I would agree with that.
To kind of jump on that, I wouldn't go say it sucks up the humanity, but by that whole consensus, humor, if it's funny for everyone, it's not fucking funny.
No, that's true. That's true.
It's gotta piss some people off.
That's a good point.
I mean, humor needs to get a little bit of that. Knife. Like 2 inches into the belly.
Even if it's just pissing you off about yourself, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I've seen lots of comedians. Louis C.K. He makes fun of things that are true about him, but are true about a lot of people. And he's not vicious about it because he's making fun of himself. But at the same time, you know, you're like, ha ha ha, oh, that's me.
That's me too.
I'd also like to mention a runner-up of Portal, because anyone who
Portal.
knows, and I think that it's such a
That's
shame.
very agreed at the table.
I think that it's such a shame that A Cake is a Lie became such a shitty meme, because the game has so many high points in terms of humor, and then that became like, oh, I'm hilarious. I've played Portal. Cake is a Lie, guys.
The worst part about The Cake is a Lie becoming a meme,
it wasn't even a funny part.
BioShock 1 has a thing that is kind of a meme now, but overall the BioShock community doesn't bring it up near as much and is much quieter about it, but it's still a meme at this point. But The Cake is a Lie, that's like a big twist in the game. I mean, you kind of see it coming, but still like a twist, you know. But yeah, Portal, great writing. Good job, Valve. Fucking great writing. The Freeman games were bad too. Half-Life had some funny shit in it as well.
Oh yeah.
Would you kindly explain?
Oh, fuck off, Joe.
Oh,
I was trying. You're such an asshole.
What is the BioShock thing that everyone keeps hitting?
You'll just have to play it. Honestly, if it's been spoiled for you at this point, you kind of missed the boat anyway.
I was just asking.
Joe's still a dick.
He just got his Xbox One. He hasn't played anything.
Have you played BioShock 1?
Yeah, I played it on the PC. It was actually really good.
It was really
I
good.
only got about halfway through, but it's good.
It's good. Did you get to that scene, or are you just minding
My
it?
friend spoiled it for me.
Oh, what an asshole.
Yeah. But it was fun. That's clever.
When I played BioShock, it was straight out of A school, so I hadn't even been around a game system. So my first playthrough of BioShock was like The Matrix. When I went to The Matrix, it was my brother's birthday, and he was like, "Want to go see a movie, The Matrix?" And I was like, "Matrix? That sounds kind of gay. What's that about?" Because I was thinking like The Net with Sandra Bullock. Amazing movie. The first one, I mean, before the second two came out. Now it's shit, but it was good in the beginning. But I had that experience with BioShock, so that game was great for me. Great.
I really enjoyed BioShock, but unfortunately I had a friend who spoiled everything, and when something is spoiled for me, I get less interested. Like, same thing with plot. I get very sad because
Jon Snow dies.
I know, it's so
It's
sad.
affected.
Oh,
You're just an asshole tonight.
you're just an asshole.
Dumbledore dies.
Galen, you're
and Dumbledore dies.
all that. It's gonna be a full deep dive, and he's resurrected.
Yeah, no, everyone's gonna know.
Pete kills him.
Yeah, but when I do that, like, I don't like seeing the spoilers for Pokemon. I enjoy the Pokemon games a lot, but if I see a bunch of spoilers for it, I get less and less interested in the game because the whole point of Pokemon is for the exploration of the game.
You have to live with me because I get super excited about the Pokemon coming
Oh,
out.
I know.
Speaking of which, have you heard about the new spoiler for Pokemon?
No.
Pikachu dies. Pikachu dies.
Back to Humour Gaming, I really want to touch on memes because memes go in from board games to D&D to video games especially, and how that actually, it takes something serious and puts it super funny.
Yeah.
Now, would you play a game based on, oh man, these funny memes are hilarious?
Yes, and I have.
Me too.
Yeah.
Portal, when the cake was a lie thing, I need to get this fucking joke. Everyone's laughing about it. I'm laughing about it too. Why is it funny?
Because humor sells.
Because humor sells.
Ask Geico, ask Jack in
I
the
was going
Box.
to say, I also like to switch in topic. I don't know anything about memes, but I really want to smoke a cigarette, so Kobo will take over for me. Enjoy.
Actually, I mean, we're pretty close to wrapping up right now. We've got about an hour, so I'd say call it. I mean, we kind of went over memetics earlier in terms of how they're developed and everything, and
Yeah.
they all get
We'll do later.
but they're good
You
advertising.
want to get red pilled when it comes to memes? Go to Meme Economy.
Oh yeah,
Our Meme Economy.
I recommend. And after that, go to Our Hell Corporate. It's not on topic, but yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Red pill.
Red pill those memes.
Just go to each of those pages and then think how they might connect to each other. And that's it. You figure it out. Congratulations!
Yeah.
Like that's smart. That takes a little bit of brain work there.
Yeah, you're
with
up
that-
end of the bell curve.
We will end this podcast. So thank you for listening to another episode of Honor and Gaming, and we'll see you next time.
Nice.